Okay, hello and welcome to the Year 3 Parent Information Session for RSE. RSE stands for Relationships and Sex Education, and hopefully this will give you a little outline as to what we do at Greenridge, how we teach it, and what your children will understand as part of the Year 3 RSE curriculum. So it's worth noting that the government has made parts of this compulsory across the country, and this has come from an increase in safeguarding risk, an increase in sexual abuse, and an increase in negative language that children are using across the country. So we feel it's really important to address this with children from a young age so that they are aware of what's safe, what's appropriate, and how to report anything if it makes them feel uncomfortable.
Okay, so currently the majority of the mandatory sex education teaching already falls within our science curriculum. As you can see, there's two examples here. So in Year 2, children learn that animals, including humans, have offspring that grow into adults. And then in Year 5, it progresses on to learning about the life cycle of human and animals, which includes reproduction. So part of the compulsory guidance is split into relationships and then health education. So the teaching of the relationships part of SRE is teaching the fundamental building blocks and characteristics of positive relationships, which references friendships, families, and relationships with other peers and adults. And they look at sort of the respectful relationships, caring friendships, as well as looking at those relationships online as well. So then, as I mentioned, it's split into health education as well. And this encompasses looking at the good physical health as well as the mental well-being. And you can see here sort of all the different parts of health education that it covers. So mental well-being, internet safety and harms, physical health and fitness, and healthy eating, as well as the other examples there. Okay, so in terms of the sex education, as we know, the relationships education is compulsory in all primary schools and has been since September 2019. The sex education is not compulsory in primary schools. However, it is recommended that schools have a sex education programme tailored to the age and emotional maturity of the pupils in the school. So in terms of our school's response to that, we have decided that we're going to follow as a school the Christopher Winter Project. And this is a programme of study that includes age-appropriate content all the way from reception to Year 6. And this approach means that we gradually introduce the topics across the different year groups. And within each year group, each SRE year group will have 3 lessons that will be taught.
Okay, so if I give you a little breakdown of what each lesson consists of. So as Mrs. Herring said, there'll be 3 lessons that the children take part in. And these have very careful links to PSHE and also to the science that we do across the years anyway. So it'll be nothing too new for the children, but we will go into more detail now. So the first lesson focuses on the difference between males and females, and they're going to be explicitly naming the body parts. So the children will be thinking about some of the differences and the similarities between the bodies of a male and the bodies of a female, and also linking those similarities into likes and dislikes and things like that. But it will mainly focus around naming the body parts. Okay, so we'll expose the children to some pictures similar to these ones, looking at babies and again noticing similarities and differences. The children will be using scientific terms to label these and to understand what exactly their body is made up of. Lesson 2 looks at touch and understanding what is appropriate touch and what is inappropriate touch. And it's those conversations that we have with children on a regular basis anyway, surrounding making sure that they understand who to communicate that to and how to communicate if they do feel uncomfortable with the way that somebody has touched them, whether it being someone getting too close to their personal space, someone hugging them when they've asked them not to, or someone trying to join a game, for example, when they did not want that. So it's understanding that it's okay to say no at times, and to also understand that the children have the power to decide that as well. Okay, so we'll use different scenarios like the one on the screen right now. Just a typical scenario about a boy in the playground. He's been repeatedly pushed over. The other child seems to think it's funny but this child says, I don't think it's funny. I think you should stop. But it says that they're scared to tell someone and they'll be in trouble if they do so. So it's about reassuring the children that talking to a grown-up or talking to someone that they trust is really important. And it's about building that culture of trust within them so that they feel safe and feel comfortable to talk about things when they arise. And we're going to use different things like sandpaper, cotton wool, Play-Doh, exploring different textures and discussing what kind of textures the children like and dislike. And then we will link that to different scenarios based around touch. The final lesson of year 3 looks at different types of families and the different types of family makeups. We understand that families are not just made up of 2 children and 2 parents. There might be adopted families. There's families with 2 male parents, 2 female parents, different racial colours. Ultimately, we'll expose them to different pictures and help them to understand the diversity of the community that they live in. And this links very closely with the PSHE lessons that we do anyway, as we focus on our community and the makeup of our community. So they're very aware of this already. We do welcome you to get in touch with any questions if you have anything that arises from this video. We're always on the door, approachable, or if you'd like to send an email to get in touch, we'd be more than happy to respond to you. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we hope that's given you a clearer outline as to the RSE curriculum. Thank you.